Today I'm going to give you some tools so you can troubleshoot your photography on the fly. When I'm out taking photographs, be it for myself or on a professional shoot, there are some times where I'll be looking for a certain photograph but struggling to get it. Over the years, I've come up with a way of getting through this by asking 3 things about my photo. Very quickly, I can determine what is wrong with it and what I need to do to rectify the shot. So next time you're out shooting or your photos aren't coming out as you want, work your way through these questions and you should be able to find the answer to your photography issues for that scenario. If your photo is blurred, it's normally because of 1 or 2 issues: motion blur and/or poor focusing. If it looks like the photo has a kind of smeared blur to it, this is due to you moving your camera whilst the shutter is open, and this movement causes this blurring to occur. If this is the case, you need to increase your shutter speed. When the shutter speed drops to a certain level when shooting handheld, that ever-present movement in your hands will cause the image to blur. This will be different for each person, but with experience, you will learn how low you can take your shutter speed before your image does start to blur due to this movement in your hands. So if it does have this smeared blur look to it, increase your shutter speed. If your photo just looks a little bit fuzzy, this is normally because the focusing is out a little bit. If this is the case, look to see if any other parts of your image are in focus. Sometimes I'll find that the focus pops out a little bit and it'll focus on either the background or just miss the subject ever so slightly. If this is the case, just set your focus again and take another shot. If your subject is sharp, move on to the next question. This is basically a simple question to check your exposure. If it's way too bright, you're overexposing the shot. You'll have to drop your ISO, increase your shutter speed, or close down your aperture a little bit. If it's way too dark, you need to do the opposite, and this is raise your ISO, open up your aperture, or slow down your shutter speed. So make these adjustments to get a good exposure and then take another shot. Once you get good exposure, move on to the next question. Now this is the most subjective question, and I still work on this one every day. But once you've taken your shot, ask yourself, is it balanced? And by balanced, I mean how does it look? Is it too heavy on one side or the other? Are there any things in the frame that don't need to be there? Where is the subject in your frame, and could you put it in a better place to make the shot better? After a bit of practice, you'll start to see and know when you get a good shot. And this is why I always say there's nothing better than getting out there and just using your camera. The more you shoot, the more you'll start to understand the principles behind the camera, but also you'll start to see things that work as well as those things that don't. So next time you go out on a photo shoot, or you're just out and about taking photographs and they're not quite as you want, ask yourself these 3 questions. Is it sharp? Is it bright? And is it balanced? If you can solve these, you should, in theory, end up with a good photo. Now I know there's much more to photography than just these 3 things, but if you do this on the fly, you'll start to get more usable photos and your photography will start to improve. Now, is there anything you do to troubleshoot your photography on the go? If so, let me know in the comments below. It'll be great to hear your thoughts. Now, if you want to learn more about photography, watch this video next. And if you want to learn about flash photography, click down here. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for weekly photography tutorials. I'll see you next time.